Jasmine had just started her new job at a prestigious firm. She worked hard, dressed professionally, and kept to herself. But one morning, as she walked into the building wearing a simple black skirt, a few coworkers smirked and whispered behind her back, trying too hard to look important. One man muttered at the meeting later that day. One female colleague laughed loudly and said, "Maybe you should try pants next time. Skirts don't suit everyone." Everyone laughed. Jasmine sat silently, her cheeks burning with shame. She clenched her hands under the table but said nothing. She needed this job. Her family depended on it. No one knew she was married, and she never brought up her personal life. The next day, the company announced a new CEO. Everyone gathered in the main hall, buzzing with curiosity. Jasmine stood quietly in the back, still shaken from the day before. Then the elevator door opened, and out walked her husband Darius. Tall, confident, dressed in a sharp suit. Everyone froze. Part 2. The room went silent. Darius walked straight to the front, scanned the room, and saw Jasmine. He smiled proudly and gave a small nod. One of the women whispered, "Wait, is she with him?" Darius cleared his throat. "Good morning. I'm honored to be the new CEO of this company. And before we begin," he turned to the staff, "I want to introduce someone very special. Jasmine, my wife, who many of you already know." The room fell into stunned silence. "She's been through a lot in just a few days here," he said, his tone firm. "But from now on, this office will be a place of respect. No more mockery, no more whispers. If you disrespect her, you disrespect me." Jasmine stood taller, her eyes shining. That day, everything changed. She was no longer just the woman in the skirt. She was the CEO's wife, and more importantly, a woman no one could ever humiliate again. Darius took the stage like he had done it 100 times before. Calm, sharp, and in control. The company's board member introduced him formally, but no one was paying attention to the speech. All eyes were flicking between Darius and Jasmine. Some mouths hung open. Whispers began again, this time louder. More urgent. "Wait, is he with her?" "I thought she was just a new hire." Jasmine stood frozen in the back, stunned. Darius hadn't told her he was becoming CEO, not even a hint. Last night, he had just asked about her day, listened quietly as she mentioned the tension in the office, and hugged her a little longer than usual. She thought he was just being supportive. She had no idea he was about to walk into her world. With this much power, Darius raised a hand and the room fell silent. "Good morning," he began. His voice was strong, steady. "It's an honor to step into this position and lead a company with such legacy and potential. But before we talk about strategy or goals, I need to address something more personal." He looked across the room until his eyes met Jasmine's. "I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone incredibly important. My wife, Jasmine." A gasp rippled through the crowd. "She started working here recently, and she didn't tell anyone we were married. Because she didn't want favors. She wanted to earn her place, just like anyone else." Haley's face turned pale. Mr. Connors shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Darius continued, his tone harder now, "But I was disappointed to hear how she was treated. Whispers, jokes, disrespect, all because of how she dressed or looked. That stops today." The silence in the room was heavy. This office, my office now, will not tolerate any form of humiliation, subtle or loud. Whether it's racism, sexism, classism, it's done. I'm not just here to make numbers grow. I'm here to build a company that actually values people. And if anyone has a problem with that, my door is open. But it may also be your exit. Nobody laughed this time. Darius turned back to Jasmine and gave her a small, proud nod. She felt her breath catch in her throat. For a moment, she wasn't the girl everyone mocked. She was the woman the CEO had just defended in front of an entire company. After the meeting, people started treating her differently. Some coworkers approached her with awkward apologies. Others avoided her altogether. But Jasmine didn't care. She had already learned who was real and who wasn't. That afternoon, Darius walked into her office, closing the door behind him. You didn't have to do that, Jasmine said quietly, still processing everything. I know, he replied, but I couldn't stay silent. I saw how they looked at you yesterday. You were here? He nodded. I came in through the back. I watched from the hallway during your meeting. Heard everything. I wanted to know how the culture really was before I stepped in. Jasmine sat down slowly. So, this wasn't just about me? No, he said, gently. It was about all the people like you, like us, who work hard, show up with dignity, and still get pushed to the sidelines. She looked at him, tears quietly forming in her eyes. Thank you, he took her hand. You didn't need saving, Jas. You were already strong. I just reminded them who they were dealing with. 1 month later, Jasmine flourished. She earned the respect she always deserved, not because of her husband's title, but because of her undeniable talent. She led a successful marketing campaign that brought in major clients. Even those who had mocked her now sought her opinion. In meetings, Haley was moved to another department. Mr. Connors was warned and behaved differently ever since. The woman in the black skirt was no longer invisible. She was a name, a presence, a force. And while the world hadn't changed overnight, her story did, because she chose to stay strong, and because someone who loved her stood up, not for her, but with her.